Anticipate, don't improvise. My process is purely logistical, narrowly focused by design. I'm not here to take sides. It's not my place to formulate any opinion. No one who can afford me needs to waste time winning me to some cause. I serve no god or country. I fly no flag. If I'm effective, it's because of one simple fact. I don't give a fuck.
Welcome to Market Makers, everybody. I hope you had an amazing Easter. We had great Easter news with the Wizzo, the weapons officer that ejected deep into Iranian territory, was rescued in an amazing military operation. Lee was commenting to me, he said, you think that Netflix will make a movie on that? And I said, if Netflix was going to make that movie, you have to recast the Iranians as white supremacists, and it'll have to be a rainbow coalition fighter that ejected deep into enemy territory. And somehow they have to insert a wheelchair into that movie as well to be on Netflix. So I doubt any type of good movie will come from Netflix on that. Nonetheless, let's talk about the markets because tomorrow is the big deadline, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, for Iran to come to some type of deal or massive escalation, according to the president. So we're going to see what happens there, and we're going to see how it's affecting the markets because to me, guys, the markets want to rip and rip higher. They've essentially been in a bear market. This video is going to cover the S&P. We'll look at Bitcoin and Ethereum as well. Let's talk about oil really quickly because this is the thing that's holding down the markets. The US is a natural gas and oil exporter, but our prices go up. Why? Because we're part of the global community. This is West Texas. Over here to your left is the Russian peak with the invasion into Ukraine. And the 786 has been your ceiling, 115, and you're back at it again. So look, I think you're going to get a 20% drop when we get some type of resolution on Iran. That should put you somewhere down here in the low to mid 90s. You'll get this pressure, this valve release on the marketplace, and I think you're going to see markets rip higher. If we look at the S&P, what do I think is going to happen? The same thing that's happened since 2023, since the recovery in 2022. What do? We sell off into the spring equinox pivot, we sell off, and then we rally into July. 2024, we sell off into the spring equinox pivot, we rally into July. And then, of course, last year in 2025, we sell off into the spring equinox pivot, and this was the strongest turnaround rally in stock market history, rallying for almost a year, 45%, hitting our target that I projected back in April of 2025 of 7,000, and we sold off into the equinox pivot. Guess what happens next? Use history as your guide. It's about probabilities, not certainties. I believe we're going to rally towards 7,500 into the summer. That's what I'm looking for. That's my bias and that's my positioning. We look at the S&P here on the daily time frame. How do I think this will play out? Our key resistance is going to be in our kill box, 6750 to 6870, right up in this zone. This is your key resistance. You have the 54 RMA here as well. When you look at this, how will this play out? Well, this will probably play out in a W fractal. So if we look at this from a W perspective, what would that look like? This would look like your wave 1 to your all-time high. And then, of course, your 2, you will rally up to, say, 6750, right at the 54 RMA, and you're going to pull back. And then you hold a higher low, and you break out to the upside, either for a lower high or on towards 7,500. And you could say, well, Brendan, what about a V-bottom recovery like in 2025? That wasn't a V-bottom recovery, commonly called a V-bottom recovery. What was it actually? People in our Discord know this. This was actually a W fractal. This is exactly what it was, which is why we were able to capture this and predict this, because it played out in a W fractal and went on to new all-time highs in the strongest turnaround rally in stock market history. Guys, you can learn these patterns and techniques on our Discord, on our YouTube membership. You can click the join button right there on YouTube if you want to take these courses. It's all in there, guys. It's the price of a book. Less than the price of a book. So that's what I believe education should be, fully accessible to anybody that wants to learn. And you can join our Discord community from there as well. This video is brought to you by BitUnix to trade all the cryptos, SimpleFX to trade the global markets and the cryptos. Check those links out in the video description. Be sure to hit like and subscribe. So this is a W fractal. This is not Elliott wave. I have to use the Elliott wave tool because that's the 5-wave tool that I need. So this is what we're looking at here, guys. This is the rebound rally, and we're going to see this make a move as soon as we get some clarity and some resolution with the war. What happens if I'm wrong, and what happens if the war goes worse, if it turns into occupation? Well, then all bets are off. But as of now, guys, like I said last week, I think this is the bottom, right? We didn't come all the way down to target. Why? Because in a bull market, you have breakdowns fail. In a bear market, you have breakouts fail. It's just common. So that looks like the bottom. You're trying to hold the low. You're trying to come up to test peak resistance, which is your kill box. I think you get a pullback off of that, hold a higher low, and then you're off, okay? You are off into the summer for a rally. Let's jump over to the crypto space. Let's look at total. All these charts are going to be very similar here in crypto. Total, Bitcoin, Ethereum, all very similar. Why? Because the 54 RMA. If you're not using RMAs, I really think you should check them out because I find them to be very accurate for moving averages, invented by Wells Wilder, the same guy that invented the ATR, the ADX, the RSI. Those tools are ubiquitous in the trading space. So we're looking at this. There's your 54 RMA. Let me get my brush. 54 RMA, bang. Right there on total, what happened? Leg down. You've been going up. You have a bias to the upside, holding higher lows, trying to regain your trend line. Where are you going to find that peak resistance again? The 54 RMA. Here's your downtrend line. You got to break the downtrend line, test the 54 RMA. If the pod crashers are going to be correct, that's most likely where you're going to fail to take the next leg down. You'll see this here on Bitcoin. Here's your all-time high up to the top and left at 126.5. Remember, my prediction back in April of 2025 was for 132 Bitcoin. We got up to 126. Didn't quite get the target. Got very close, very accurate from that perspective, considering that prediction was made when Bitcoin was in the low 70s. So we broke down, we tested the 54 RMA. You can see it right here in that previous leg. We held the higher lows, we kept going up, hit the 54, broke down at the uptrend line, capitulated to where we are now, and you can see the exact same scenario playing out. You have your low, you came up, you have a retest, you're holding higher lows, still holding a higher low here, and you're trying to come up to do what? To test the 54 RMA, where you're going to make a decision. Leg down to 49K, 50K, down to 43K, or break it, flip the downtrend line, flip the 54, head to 86 or 92. Doesn't mean that's the top either, by the way. That's the next targets based on the mathematics of the market ratios. That's what I'm looking at. I'm playing this for the long side move because most of the stock market has been in a bear market and is ready to rip, in my opinion. We look at Bitcoin here on the daily chart. You can see this even more clear, more crystallized. 54 RMA, hit it. Failed at the uptrend line, made a double top, capitulated, and here you are. You're still holding your low, your higher low, your higher low. Weak momentum without even looking at the indicators. You can just look at the candles, but you're going to come up and test that. You're going to flip the downtrend line, test it. You're going to break down to 50 to 44K, or you're going to break out to 86 to 92. That's the binary nature of this move. Low interest in the market in general, low interest in this space. And this is the time to be looking at the markets because you have had an upward bias with multiple retests here. Even though you're holding higher lows, you've had the ability to accumulate here to play for a trade. And we'll see, because if this flips and we run out into the summer, again, these are extremely nice trades, especially if we end up flipping this zone and start looking at the next level up. Let's just look at some indicators whilst we are here. We look at the RSI, bullish on the RSI finally. Look at the volume, holding higher lows. Momentum's weak, but it is bullish, but it is very weak, which is to be expected because there's a deadline tomorrow. Ethereum's lining up the exact same way, guys. Ethereum, 54 RMA. I know this is repetitive, but this has just been the boring nature of this 60-plus day grind that we've been in these legs. 54 RMA, failed, right? Dipped down below the uptrend line, broke down. 54 RMA is up above you. Ethereum to me looks like it wants to break out. I've been accumulating Ethereum. I was talking to members. I bought more Ethereum down here at 2,000. I bought Ethereum at 1850, bought Ethereum at 1950 and at 2,000. So I'm looking for Ethereum to break out to the upside. By the way, one nice thing about BitUnix, I will say, is on Ethereum and some other crypto assets, you can initiate a guaranteed stop loss. That means no slippage. So all of these trades are zero risk from my perspective since they're already in profit. Worst thing that could happen is I get no profit, right? If I hold on to it, that is. Could take profit at any time. But you should check those links out, guys. Be a Market Makers VIP on those links. So that's what I'm looking at. You could say, well, how do you know these targets will even be hit? You never know. It's probabilities. But the ratios of the market, you can see it on Bitcoin, you can see it on Ethereum, adheres to natural law. There's your target for your down move for the prior leg. Look at that. 1796 was your target. You go back to Bitcoin and look at it, same exact thing. If you're not trading with Fibonacci, you need to learn from me or somebody else, understand expansion and contraction ratios, because this prior leg gave you the exact down leg here of 63,365. You got a wick below it. Look at all the price action that has been contained in this predicted price movement and where you're hitting your head right now, 69,961, right? Mathematics of the market. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll see you on the next one. Follow me at Market Canary. Hope to see you in the Discord.